911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
November 13th, 2022, 11:58 a.m. A frantic 911 call shatters the peace of Moscow, Idaho. But the call comes nearly 8 hours too late. Inside this off-campus rental house, 4 University of Idaho students lay brutally stabbed to death in their beds. 2 roommates survived. One of them saw the killer's face.
You were in that room?
My room, not Xana's room. My room.
And your room is this one right here?
Next to stairs. That one is Xana's room.
Second floor room.
Second floor.
Okay.
All I heard was I heard her go upstairs, like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now because she's going upstairs.
And you heard who go upstairs?
Kaylee and the dog Murphy.
And upstairs to the very top?
Yeah, that's where her room is.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden I heard her walking up, I heard her scream, and she ran upstairs because she saw someone. That's what I'm pretty sure she said. Someone's here, and she screamed and just ran downstairs. And I called for her name, but I jumped up and locked my door because I was so scared. And then I heard someone in the bathroom, and I heard her crying, and I heard some guy say that you're going to be okay, I'm going to help you. And I kept calling her name, but she wasn't answering. And then I opened the door for a second, and I saw this guy, and he was not insanely tall, but he was wearing all black and like this mask, which is covering his forehead and his mouth. And I locked the door, and I called, and I didn't know what to do.
This is at 4
a.m., yes.
Okay.
And so then I just ran down to
you left here?
Yeah, I left my room down to she's that one with the white blinds at the very bottom.
Okay.
I ran down there and we talked, and we just locked the door. We didn't think anything of it. We're like, nothing happens in Moscow, so we just like tried to go to bed. And then we woke up, and it was weird because none of our roommates were up, and we called all of them. They were not waking up, and so me and like, this is weird. So I called and to come over, and then that's when all this happened.
His name is Brian Kohberger. He's 28 years old, and he's a PhD student in criminology, studying the very crimes he's about to commit. This is the story of the King Road killings.
Last night, in conjunction with the Pennsylvania State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, detectives arrested 28-year-old Brian Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania.
To understand what happened, we need to go back 24 hours. November 12th was a typical Saturday night in this college town of 25,000 people. At 1122 King Road lived 6 students. On the 3rd floor, 21-year-old Kaylee Gonsalves and her best friend Madison Mogan. On the 2nd floor, 20-year-old Zana Kernodol. And on the 1st floor, 2 roommates who would survive the night, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funke. That night, Kaylee and Maddie went to a campus bar, then grabbed food at the grub truck around 1:30 a.m. This would be the last time they were seen alive. Meanwhile, Zana and her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, also 20, attended a fraternity party. By 2 a.m., everyone was home. 6 people in the house. Everything was normal.
1:45 a.m. Kaylee texted me, said, hey, can you come pick me up and some friends from the grub truck? I got there at 1:49, and then they got in the car shortly thereafter, and I took them home. It's only a 3-4 minute drive, dropped them off, and then headed out to another ride.
But 8 miles away, in Pullman, Washington, someone else was preparing. Someone who had been watching this house for months. Brian Kohberger was a criminology PhD student at Washington State University. On paper, he seemed brilliant, studying criminal psychology, offender behavior, the emotions that drive people to commit violent crimes. But behind closed doors, something was deeply wrong. Multiple female students told police Kohberger made them uncomfortable. He would block doorways, preventing women from leaving offices. One professor warned colleagues that if Kohberger ever became a professor himself, he would stalk or sexually abuse his students. Someone even broke into a female graduate student's apartment, stealing perfume and underwear. 3 months before the murders, police pulled Kohberger over for speeding. Watch this carefully.
You have your license, the registration, insurance. Were you wearing your seatbelt when I stopped you? No. No? That's no good.
Just being honest with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You guys are... There's absolutely no point in not being honest.
Yeah.
You have a radar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm obviously an honest person, right? I told you I wasn't wearing my seatbelt.
I am obviously an honest person, right? An unprompted declaration. Psychologists call this protestation, asserting innocence when no one has accused you of anything. But here's what's truly disturbing. Cell phone records show Kohberger's phone connected to towers near 1122 King Road 23 times between June and November 2022, all between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., all after dark. He wasn't just driving by. He was surveilling, planning. And on November 12, 2022, he was ready. At 2:47 a.m., Kohberger's phone goes dark, either turned off or switched to airplane mode. He knew phones leave digital trails. At 2:44 a.m., surveillance cameras capture his white Hyundai Elantra heading toward Moscow. At approximately 4 a.m., Kohberger's car is spotted making repeated passes by the house. Prosecutors believe he entered through a sliding glass door at the back. He went straight to the 3rd floor, to Maddie's room, where both Kaylee and Maddie were sleeping together. What happened next was unspeakably brutal. Both were stabbed to death. Kaylee had over 30 defensive wounds. She fought back. Before leaving, Kohberger dropped a crucial piece of evidence, a knife sheath. At 4:12 a.m., Zana Kernodol was still awake on the 2nd floor scrolling TikTok. At 4:17 a.m., a nearby security camera picks up disturbing audio. Voices, a whimper, a loud thud, a dog barking. Zana may have heard something on the 3rd floor. She encountered Kohberger. She and Ethan were both killed. Ethan likely trying to protect her. At 4:20 a.m., Dylan Mortensen, one of the surviving roommates, woke up to sounds. She opened her bedroom door 3 times that night. The first time, she heard someone say, "There's someone here." The second time, she heard crying from Zana's room and a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." It wasn't Ethan's voice. And then, the 3rd time, she saw a figure dressed in all black with a mask covering his mouth and nose, approximately 5'10" or taller, athletically built, with bushy eyebrows. He walked right past her, within feet, and headed toward the back door. Dylan froze. Trauma experts call this the freeze response. She was 19 years old, terrified, confused. She locked herself in her room. At 4:20 a.m., she started frantically calling and texting her roommates. No one is answering. She texted about seeing someone and a ski mask. No one answered, because they couldn't. At 4:48 a.m., Kohberger's phone reconnected to the network. He was heading back to Pullman. By 5:26 a.m., he was home. 4 people were dead. 2 were alive, terrified, but still unaware of the full horror. Hours passed. The surviving roommates didn't call 911. They were confused, frightened. Around noon, they called friends to come over. Something felt wrong. When friends arrived and went upstairs, they discovered the horror. At 11:58 a.m., a 911 call was finally placed.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi, this is...
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check.
By the time first responders arrived, it had been 8 hours. 8 hours too late. Sergeant Bill Fry, one of the first officers inside, described the overwhelming smell of blood and said it was one of the most brutal crime scenes he'd ever witnessed. 4 University of Idaho students were dead, stabbed with a large fixed-blade knife. No forced entry, no sexual assault, no apparent motive, and no suspects. The small college town that hadn't seen a murder in 7 years was in shock. Who could have done this, and were they still out there? For weeks, police had no suspects. Then they found something on surveillance footage, a white Hyundai Elantra making repeated passes by the house around 4 a.m. On November 29th, a Washington State University officer searched for vehicles matching that description. One name came up, Brian Kohberger. He owned a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra. Cell phone data placed him near the crime scene 23 times over 4 months. Traffic cameras showed his car in the area. But the crucial evidence was the knife sheath found at the crime scene with DNA on the button snap. The DNA didn't match anyone in FBI databases, so investigators used genetic genealogy, uploading the profile to public genealogy websites. The trail led to Pennsylvania, to the Kohberger family. In mid-December, Kohberger drove home to Pennsylvania with his father for the holidays. On December 15th, they were stopped twice by Indiana police.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man. He was right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay. Cool. Where are you headed?
Well, we're coming from WSU, and we're standing early.
Notice his demeanor. His father, sitting next to him, completely unaware. Back in Pennsylvania, FBI agents set up surveillance. They watched Kohberger wear surgical gloves, take out trash bags, and place them in his neighbor's garbage cans. He cleaned his car obsessively, not missing an inch. On December 27th, law enforcement retrieved the family's trash. Inside, a Q-tip with DNA belonging to Kohberger's father. This confirmed Brian's DNA was on the murder weapon sheath. 3 days later, Pennsylvania State Police surrounded the Kohberger home. When they entered, Brian was in the kitchen, wearing examination gloves, putting trash into separate Ziploc bags, still trying to destroy evidence. Brian Kohberger was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. The evidence was overwhelming. For over 2 years, Kohberger maintained his innocence. His defense team challenged everything: the DNA evidence, the cell phone data, Dylan's testimony. The judge ruled against them on every major motion. A trial was set for August 2025. Prosecutors planned to seek the death penalty. And then something unexpected happened. On July 2nd, 2025, just weeks before trial, Brian Kohberger appeared in court. What happened next shocked everyone. He pleaded guilty to all charges. In exchange, prosecutors agreed not to seek the death penalty.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kaylee Gonzalez, a human being?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
Did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Did you do that willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and malice aforethought?
Yes.
4 yes answers. No emotion, no explanation, no remorse. 3 weeks later, the families gave victim impact statements. Kaylee's sister Olivia addressed Kohberger. My sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They're everything you could never be: loved, accepted, vibrant, brave, and powerful.
My sister Kaylee and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were 2 pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you could never be: loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful.
For the first time, surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen spoke publicly. Now 22 years old, she stood sobbing before the court. What happened that night changed everything. He didn't just take their lives, he took the light they carried into every room. I suffer from debilitating panic attacks, the kind that slam into me like a tsunami. My body keeps reliving that night, over and over. She called Kohberger a hollow vessel, something less than human. But then she said something powerful.
He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive? He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He may have taken so much from me, but he will never get to take my voice.
Judge Stephen Hippler sentenced Kohberger to 4 consecutive life sentences without parole, plus 20 years. Kohberger showed no emotion, no remorse, nothing. So, what do we know now? The evidence was overwhelming. His DNA, his cell phone, surveillance footage, Dylan's eyewitness testimony. But one question remains. Why? Investigators found no connection between Kohberger and his victims, no personal relationship, no grudge, no motive. Some experts believe that as a criminology student obsessed with crime, he wanted to commit the perfect murder to prove he was smarter than law enforcement. Others point to his disturbing behavior towards women, his violent internet searches, his pattern of harassment. Was this about power, control, or simply the actions of a deeply disturbed individual who wanted to know what it felt like to kill? We may never know. What we do know is this. Kaylee Gonzalez was 21. She was supposed to graduate in December. Madison Mogen was 21, best friends with Kaylee since 6th grade. Xana Kernodle was 20, full of life and loved by everyone. Ethan Chapin was 20, a gentle giant who died trying to protect the woman he loved. The house at 1122 King Road was demolished in December 2023. The university decided the land needed to heal. But the families will never forget. The community will never forget. And Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, the two young women who survived, will carry the weight of that night for the rest of their lives. As for Brian Kohberger, he will spend the rest of his life in a prison cell. He took 4 innocent lives. He shattered families. He terrorized a community. And in the end, he proved nothing except this: evil exists, and sometimes it hides behind the mask of intelligence. Kaylee, Madison, Zana, and Ethan. Gone, but never forgotten.